Hello, James here. I just wanted to make a video, and this was occurred to me that came to me when I did a video the other day on Umar Johnson's father, and it just occurred to me what's really been going on. And I was watching the video on the one channel that the one guy named Lenon Honor. He was basically showing how Umar Johnson was basically accusing him and probably people like him and other people of what happened to that situation down in the ATL. And and I thought about this, and I say, after watching the video, what he said back in 2014 with when you go to his video, I was one of the people in the audience watching it from the background, and he had him basically saying during the time when the Ferguson situation went down with Mike Brown, and that he went out there and he got this emotionally charged up crowd, and he said that yeah he would, and he got him on video. He didn't cut it, he didn't edit. He had the whole sessions played out, the whole video of what he said, that he encouraged that, if he was at that time, instead of rewording and saying I understand your pain and anger and your frustration, he turned around and encouraged it and trying to get a few laughs and a few people that had agreement with the assignment of it, just to feed into the emotion. And he said he would have burnt this business down and take everything, and really he really didn't think about this, that even those businesses that burnt down, people needed accessories that's in that neighborhood, and there were probably some black businesses that got paid the price as well as the other people's businesses, because some people are not just, when people go on looting and rioting, they don't care, and they get some outsiders that come in and they start robbing and stealing and looting and stuff, they have these specific groups that come in town. And this was done on the video that they showed. They had someone brought out a pallet of bricks, hoping that people would take bricks and launch bricks at the window and destroy businesses. What Umar Johnson didn't realize that some of the people probably needed some like this CVS, because you have a lot of elderly people and poor people that need to get their drugs. To get their medication and things like that. He never thinks about what he really says. Like, you dummy. And then the one video he showed him that he had to say this on table. If he said, if I was one of the people, young men, I would have grabbed that gun and blew the cop's brains out. And what this dummy don't realize, that there's there's some law enforcement that probably was, maybe there's just someone who was in law enforcement happened to come across Leonard on the video, watching this and hearing him say that, and say, oh, we know you because you made an idle threat due to law enforcement. So that takes it like that's a whole different level. So now you want to at the same time come back months later after the one business, a couple 4 years later, after a woman's business get looted, get destroyed and vandalized in Atlanta. So he pointed this out. And my advice for Umar is this: sometimes you need to step back, and this, at least with Jay Morris, I give him some credit that he kind of stepped back for a while to revamp his brand, or maybe took a chill pill and just say, hey, at some point, because he knew the heat was gaining up on him, and so he kind of, at least I give him that much credit. But he was kind of in denial until he was going across the country and people were getting at him because he wasn't getting back to his investors, and basically they called him out and they took much money off of him, and a couple well-known YouTubers got a hold of it and started sparked across the whole country, every city that he's born. So at least Jay Morrison had the sense enough to maybe kind of lay low and totally rebrand himself, maybe take a focus on what happened and how he maybe he's understanding the consequences by now. On the other hand, Umar Johnson he's so arrogant and so bold, brazen, and then turn around and he denies and deflects. And so Lenon Honor had his case on it, showing that you a hypocrite. Basically, you saying one thing that this is not right, brothers and sisters, but yet 5-6 years ago you were saying you would have burnt and stole stuff and made a comedy routine and in agreeing with some people with the looters, burning businesses down. Where those people burned the business down, a lot of the people needed the services in that neighborhood. See, some people don't think logically. And I remember Grandmaster Jay said that that's true. Some black people do not think logically. You burn down the business. I understand you mad if it was a business owner that did some injustice and what happened up in Minneapolis. But you don't burn down the business because there's other people in the area that have stores and have business where some people who are disabled, who are in wheelchairs, trying to get their services, and some people don't have transportation. But Umar Johnson don't have the capability and the brains enough to figure that out at the time. So he just go on every winning doctrine of emotion, and this is what Lenon Honor put out in the video that makes it look as so. So just imagine, when it came to law enforcement, ladies and gentlemen, that some individual in law enforcement came across them and heard Umar Johnson saying, "Well, I don't want to blame him. I'd have got a hold of that weapon and took the gun off the cops and blew their brains out." Here, and then knowing that in a racial climate that we in, knowing that there are some officers are literally getting off and they can show justifiable because all they had to do is do what they did up in Wisconsin and saying that they have just a reason to put down these young African American males because they were looting and they were rioting and they were protecting the business. And this dumbass didn't realize by saying something like that years ago could have caused more death and destruction on young black males. See, sometimes you got to think about what you say. There's a way of doing something. Anger is justified. Unjust anger is one thing, but action is another thing. When you go out there and make an idle threat and put it on video, that goes out all over the internet. And so this is where he's and these other people who do not like Umar Johnson, they have, when people see the video and they go to the channel and you have someone like Lenon Honor or Afristan Ghali can say, I can show you how he's not stable. He says one thing and it goes another way. Well, he just proved their case right. And that's why people getting mad. And the people who with Umar Johnson is getting mad because maybe they stand by in agreement with all these things, and which is not bad. Then you have his father trying to justify and saying that's saying they want to put on other people's fault, like I mentioned in the other video. No, he has to take accountable for the very words that he say. He's the one that started it. And so is it right for someone to call somebody out if they doing something wrong and make and it's criticize, hey, you going about this the wrong way? And then when some people who didn't even take either side saying, well, maybe what they're saying, and try to be go between persons and say, I'm not coming against you or wish anything harm on you, and I understand what your cause is, but you're not really doing the logical way. But he's so arrogant and pompous, and that he don't listen to people. And so basically, maybe now that he's being exposed on video by different individuals putting up receipts and showing that what's he doing, showing to the audience on YouTube and different platforms like, hey, this guy's not coming through with what he say. Maybe it's because so it's okay for someone to go and keep going around the same community of people that already trying to struggle. And last thing, with any race of people, especially with demographic of people, no one needs to be getting conned out of their money, and you asking for money, and you're not giving the results. So you have to really think about that. No one is not even considering that. Then when certain people point out about about the tax bill, what about the insurance bill, what about transportation to pick up the kids when it came to the school, what about the area where it's around where you could have possibly mold and asbestos in there, and because of the smell, and by it has vegetation. So you can't say nothing about that because he's hypocritical. And then they could have suggested he could have built the same money. He could have had a construction company built it from the ground up. That way he would have passed. He wouldn't have had no problem if he'd have did it the right way. But no, he wanted to do it his way. Go out and purchase a building in a not so nice neighborhood with conditions that's probably in the building that can put people with breathing problems or lead, asbestos, and mold can be right into the building. And it has to be thoroughly clean. And on top of that, you got to consider with that going on, then you have the situation with COVID-19. So you have to have some special ventilation system in there if you was going to have a school inside the building. So it would have to be some kind of special, so people, the teachers or the staff, or include himself, would not get part of the COVID. Or the kids especially would get COVID. So he didn't consider that. Basically what and Lenon Honor was basically pointing some good things out in his video last night. And so, the best thing to do is the wisdom is maybe back down and maybe rethink and reevaluate what you did in the video. And if someone pointing out this is what you said, these are words actually what you said in the video, and just say, hey, I was wrong, and admit that. And people wouldn't say anything, but it's instead he deflected to blame other people for what happened to someone's business down there. And people are going to do it, and no one knows, like Lenon Honor said, and them other people said, no one knows. You can't blame that on anybody that was in. That probably was something that was probably another situation. Some people loot and do stupid stuff to people's businesses all the time. You see people go and spray paint graffiti on someone's building, and you got a bunch of stupid teenagers that do, or young people that do that. So it could have been anybody. They just are trying to, people do crazy things on holiday, and it may not necessarily have to come from what his situation was. But every time he opens up his mouth, he really, really don't think about the consequences. And then when people actually pulling up video and they pushing the audio without, they play out the whole audio, what he said about 5-6 years ago. You can't dispute it. It's come out of your own mouth. Yes, you on camera, is your audio, is your voice. Someone taped it when they was videotaping you in the audience, so it got uploaded to social media, and people who analyzed the video saying, "Wow, go back 5-6 years ago and see what you said." And Lenon Honor had a case, so he's making you. So you make yourself look bad for the things that you said. Then what he's saying is that you don't want to take responsibility, and it sounds like your father don't want to deny and deflect that. That's the reason why. And when it came to his own personal life with his children, why he cannot see his children. Well, we don't hear the mother's side of his children's mothers, why he's not seeing the children. And because there's only two sides to a story, you're just hearing one side. You're not hearing two sides. And how was he acting? And Lenon Honor also pointed out what was a good idea was if you was about black businesses and then to come to find out one of his baby's mama's mother had a business in the local town. So he was sending some people that disagree with his daughter's grandmothers. So go up there and go confront them on the business. And again, he showed he's a hypocrite. And he was pointing some things out, and I listened to the whole video. I was like, wow, he blew him out the water. I mean, not come out with a knockout punch, and with his own words, with his own video, not him saying this in past years. And he said, and he gave him credit. He said when he first started out, he sounded like he was legit. I thought he was legit too, and he seemed like he was coming forth with some good information. But 1 minute, he's there, and 1 minute he shows them flipping out on somebody who have a simple disagreement with them, a way with direction as far as debating in the community. He got up all into his feelings and started doing a schoolyard dance and insulting another man on and it was just something insulting people, and it's like he playing it a dozens. I mean, it's the way you handle things, and he didn't really handle it right. And Lenon Honor showed it, like he's not even mature enough. And then he's making at the end, he's saying this basically, it came back, this what kind of example you want someone who's going to be a principal, a teacher. He's not capable of holding his own temper, and he's showing his true nature when he makes these other videos. And then he's calling people, schoolyard names. But the people he's calling schoolyard names, he can't justify. And then he has the thing calling someone gay and homosexual. It's like, how do you know that they're gay? How do you know that they're homosexual just because someone gay? And what's with that? It's like, I start questioning people who start accusing other people of being gay, because maybe either you admire people being gay, and that's why you come against them so hard. I mean, if you sit down and think about people who call people gay and refer to gay sex, whatever, or any kind of sexual thing, you got to sit down and question. As I know I remember one time, a long time ago, somebody was joking around about gay people. It's like, I don't want to hear nothing about what gay people do in their bedroom. I don't need to know that. I know I'm not gay or bisexual, and I don't joke about stuff like that. I don't talk about them all like that. But but people who do, you have to sit down and think and wonder, or is there some underlying insecurity about gay people? Maybe they admire them. Maybe they want to be with them. I'm just saying, when you keep accusing someone of being gay, that could be suspect yourself. So while you try and do that to them, and you try to infiltrate your manhood, because when he showed the one video about Tariq Nasheed, talked about men playing with his butt, whatever. I mean, why would you have to go there about another man's? I mean, I'm just pointing this out. Like, hey, why would you say? What would make you say some stuff like that? I mean, some things you have to really think about what some people really say. I mean, really, if someone is, but he's accusing the one guy who was a reverend out in Kansas City and being gay, a couple other people being gay. You don't even know that these people are being gay. Then and the woman out there in California, you don't know nothing about their sex life. But that's just. And then personally, that's not no one's business, for one thing. Secondly, it's like, why would you even say something like that? But I sit back looking at both sides of it. It's like, wow, they making this guy look more. Every time he opens up his mouth with something, he makes himself more and more look bad. So that's why he's not people analyze it, because majority of people come into social media like YouTube, and they see someone Lenon Honor's video or Afro Bengali or make a change in these other people's video, and they're like, wow, and they doing quick examination, giving you evidence and proof in video of what they have. And so people are standing back and who know about this, and some people, first of all, they might just think, well, maybe they're just hating for some reason. But as time go along, you sit back and you see the video like, wow, and how is this a situation? Even if a problem occurred at this, let's say he get the school up and running, and some problem occurred, is that the way he's going to handle it? By insulting somebody and say, my son is still has some kind of disagreement with another child. Is that the way he's gonna handle it as a principal? I mean, is he gonna yell? How's he gonna deal with someone strong-minded individual? And then next thing you know, it'd be on one of those what's that hip hop video? To be right back at school. So it would set him back because it showed that he didn't handle it a properly way and in a mature way as a professional. See, he says things, he sounds professional one way, but then he's trying to sound like he's some knucklehead off the street. That's why people are mocking him. That's why people are really, and his supporters probably don't understand. No, they just hate. No, they showing you his personality. Something's wrong. And then when you have people who study human behavior, when they know something's wrong with the individual who's supposed to be classified and study human behavior. When they see they so-called colleague exhibiting human behavior just as bad as the people supposed to be your clients. So that's when you have Afro Bengali and Reverend Palmer, different individuals who probably specialize in human behavior and dealing with talking with people and counseling people. So they see, and you don't even have to be a counselor. You can tell something's off with an individual. you just can, if you've been around people long enough, you can analyze the way they talk. But he puts himself on video, and what I'm saying is, he puts himself out there every time, and someone grabs it, and they analyze it, upload it, what he says, and it like he's going off about some stuff, and it's like, wow, and it's like, and it doesn't really, he's going from one end to the other and the other. He's not doing one project and sticking with the one project. And I mentioned the video, maybe, and they say he needs to take some time down. Stop putting every doggone time you gotta run to the video. Make a blog or something. But when every time you do the video, you have people who distract, people who really saying you're still showing unstable behavior, and so you giving them comedy routines to point that out, that you keep making these unstable decisions. And then when you have an individual who is showing things that you said in the past, now if some person in law enforcement would see that, and they have to come to YouTube, and they have to come on up and just have to pop up on the page, and they say, oh, and then they say, don't I recognize your face? And Umar Johnson, yeah, I'm such and such out of. You said that you want us, you would encourage the violence. Oh yeah, we took note of that. See, he don't, and this is what it was shown from someone's video lecture, and he took a video lecture, and I said he's gonna get more young men. Now some young men gonna try to do what, be encouraged to do what he said, and get his life snuffed out. You can't fight law enforcement. Is this something, but there's a certain way you do it. But going back at law enforcement with violence ain't going, because you're not going to win, and it's going to antagonize. And if they riot and loot, and they just passed something down in Florida, what Umar Johnson don't know this, that like the governor said that anybody who riot and loot, shoot on sight. So that's and there's a couple people that making video that made the news upgrade about that. So they passed a law. I think it's Ron, the governor of Florida. I don't know if it's Santanis or something like that. Passed a law. The next time it's a riot down there, the police, whoever civilian can shoot you. They can shoot you, and they won't be charged. So he need to think of. So he need to think about that. And going back to that video what Lenon Honor was saying. So now it's going to be more people that's pushing for laws for that. So people can go on route, and you just see what happened with the Lay's case with the young man that even though clearly he was in the wrong, and it was two white boys that got killed by this other white boy, and you see what happened. They let the white boy go raise up $2 million. He's off the street. He's out of jail and probably gonna clear his record. So in other words, so you can the next time you loot and riot you want to, but you might have some people getting shot, trying because they're angry at some unjust rush, and there's people are gonna start doing that. I'm telling you. So what kind of advice he said back then in that video about stealing TVs. I would have grabbed 2 pieces. I would have been right at I said, yeah, and he don't. And so you can try that if you want to, but the people, you just give them the reason to kill you. I mean, because people right now they're not playing. And next time probably another riot happen, it's gonna be bad. And it's to the point that if the doggone National Guard had to come in, it's really gotten out of hand. And that means martial law. So you need to think about that. You can't. There's a way to beat the system, but it ain't through violence. It's not through going against. Even if that officer was in the wrong, there's a system you have to go by, and that's true. You're not gonna beat their system. You're not gonna take a vengeance and go out and they kill one of ours, we kill one. No, that's the wrong answer. Because you're gonna put more and more people in danger, and that's because of your emotions. That's a fact. That's the truth, and they will have justification, especially if you're in a poor area, to do it. See, you don't think about that, because then people gotta live in that community. When he did that in Ferguson and other places. See, he don't think about that. He ain't gotta come back to those towns. Them black people gotta live there. And you gotta deal with that. they don't want to deal with it. I mean, if someone just finally, of course, well, for defense reasons, but use reason and logic when it comes to defense. But but otherwise than that, you don't encourage. And this is what he pointed out in the video. So every time when he makes a video, Lenon Honor points out, this is your dysfunction. I'm gonna show you, make a whole series with the dysfunction that you said in the past, and then he was analyzing the video as he's talking. He's analyzing every word that he's saying. That's something. Is one minute he's saying this way, when he talk about 10% of black boys that need to be murdered. I mean, he was making a case, and then just little simple things, and it's just that wow. He's not really hearing what he's saying and what he's projecting out to people. And then when he says something outlandish and crazy, then people take the video and say, see, you see how outlandish and crazy he is, and they play out the whole video. And he's not just been, the 5 people. It's been more people making video. It's more than just the 4 or 5 people you heard about. There's other people that make optimization of what he's been doing. And no matter what background they come from, it just come down to human common sense. So the best thing to do for Umar Johnson is stop making videos, because you're making yourself look really, really bad. The more you open up your mouth and don't take responsibility over things that you allow this to happen. Stop blaming other people. The one thing, stop calling them coons and derogatory names. Stop that, because and then in the past you encourage other people to go after other people who simply have a disagreement with you. He pointed that video out. So you encouraging someone to get so mad to justify you, and you had this cult-like behavior, go attack and jump on somebody simply to leave and bully somebody to leave them alone. Because someone simply disagree with you. That's not mature. That's not maturity at all. He pointed that out in the video. So because you go send threats to other individuals in their cities, in their state, simply for having a disagreement. And he made a good case. You're not mature enough to run a school. You're not mature, and it's probably what the people, if you dealt with people who have worked along with him, saying this man is unstable. Probably black and white. His people who is in his field say no, that's just some instability. That don't make no sense, and it's the reason why he's going off on this rebellion. And now, if it does take off, it make the psychological part of the video. Let's say he gets some kids up under his care, they might be worse than what they did, because they influenced. And like I mentioned in one video, whoever your kids is around, and you got someone around someone like that, they trying to imitate, then it'd be a worse situation. Then you have to get another doctor to figure out what's going on. Why this child acting out like that? Why is this teenager acting out like that? So his followers need to think about that. I mean, and so his followers need to think about what Lenon Honor was showing, that you can get all up in your emotions and get mad and try to trying to be a so-called follower of Pan-African leader, trying to lead you to death and destruction. You go right ahead, because that's where he's leading you to, because he's not balanced. But he made an excellent case last night on this video. Even Miss Bengali made an excellent case on. She's showing you from her end, and that's another thing. Because basically she has enough sense enough to know that don't sound right. You can be proud to be a black person, but you have to be a professional. There's nothing wrong with being proud of who you are, but being proud of who you're not is not trying to control and dominate and discriminate against other people. There's nothing wrong with being, and I'm surely she's proud to be a black woman. But at the same time, she's a logic woman. She's a logic, just like them other black people. They're proud to be black, but it's like any other race of people. You're gonna see something, you're gonna call it out, and if it's someone in your own race is doing something stupid and idiotic, and they acting like a buffoon. What is someone's opposite race called doing things? You gonna have the same kind of feeling to some who is not even in your ethnic background. That's just common sense. And sometimes I think some people don't like to be called out for it, especially when they have the proven video, your very words that you saying something. And do people can chop something up and say certain things? Yes, there's some people that do, but he didn't chop it to what I've seen. He didn't chop up too much of it to show that, this man's unstable. He blew it out the water, knock it out the park on him and everything. And then he turned around and blamed the people who did disagree with him about his book signing or his school. Nobody encouraged no violence. That was something on your own. That was something that was probably there for another reason. It was just a bad timing. And it could be other things going on in that neighborhood when he's out in the ATL. But like I said, at least I give Jay Morrison a lot of credit than Umar Johnson. That sometimes when you're wrong, just kind of slip back and back away and figure out and then come back. Get your mind right, get your head right. And this is what maybe Umar's father was trying to tell him that. But he see how his son's out of control with his arrogant and his pompous attitude. And he's just in self-denial. And the reason why he's not getting, he wouldn't gain the support because people see he's unstable. Even if it was a regular celebrity that came, they see that man who probably got thousands and millions of dollars, and they see how unstable a person is. You think they're gonna give a man like that? What after he didn't? They see the other side. They see a video like with Lenon Honor point. You think a Master P or Puff Daddy or Tyler Perry? You think they see someone who is unstable, and they see a video like that? Umar Johnson acting like that. Do you think that they would give him his money? Even T.I. I'm just saying. Any other celebrity, say, dude, you off your rocker kind of speak. Well, when the one guy he said, then he criticized the people. They showed this in the video that they can only give less at that time. He got pompous and arrogant about it and said that's all you can give me. And maybe this dumbass would understand maybe that people have low funds. Sometimes they want to give, but maybe it could be not. Maybe the person who was giving probably didn't have enough income coming in, and maybe they would have gave you something more if something would have come back. But his dumbass says, and he said this in the video, and when Leonard Honor pointed this out, that's you got. I expect more, and then from black people, you should be thankful what you got. You got $700,000, and then he made in one video about Mike Brown, the cop that killed Mike Brown. White folks gave the million. That was on them. Black people don't mind giving when they know it's a good cause, just like white people. But they're gonna give it to someone who's civilized and got good common sense. And they need to stop guilt shaming people just because black people spend more money than any other race. So who gives a shit? Okay? Who cares? Black people gonna do what black people gonna do. They're gonna spend on cigarettes, cigarillos, hair weaves. They're gonna do it. But guilt shaming somebody ain't gonna do it. And maybe whatever they spend it on, maybe it's going to a black business. And if they choose not to spend their money in the black, then some are going to either or. But this subconscious guilt shaming tactic, we ain't support. No, black people want to support. I do believe black people want to support. They just look for black people just like any other people on the planet. Nobody don't be conning, even someone in your own skin, in your own ethnic background. Let alone it's easy to see other ethnic group of people being conned in their own background or among their own people, and they don't handle people and they keep it on the low, of course. Every once in a while, unless something really get drastic, it make national news. But even then, people don't like to get conned, and you can look at the situation with Bitcoin, where there were people getting conned all over the world, and some international person in a foreign country. He conned it. First of all, he conned his own people in Europe. Then he conned some people over in Asia. Then he run sly, slick, marketing motivational game. And come to find out, when he got to a certain amount, then they picked up and dipped. So now Interpol was looking at him, that these individuals, because he went preying around innocent working people, who whatever profession that they was in. And they lost their money. So get back what I'm saying about the Umar Johnson situation. Black people, I said this one time in the video, they can't afford to lose that kind of money. And I don't care if they are a business owner. We can't There's not too many black people can recruit that kind of money back if they get cheated on. I mean, white people, there's somehow some can justify getting their money back because the government would, give this. But when it comes to African Americans, even before with business, and some business owner, he can't or he or she can't recuperate that money because it's just, oh well, you just got to suffer. Your business got, oh well, like anybody else. So the last thing you need someone to do is someone looking you in your face and run some old slick con game. Trying to pump you up with some African this and African that. And it's like, okay, yeah, I know we're proud to be black, but yeah, you can pump me up with all this hype about leaders and everything, but that was the past. Yeah, now we know who we are. Yeah, but what kind of person is present before me? Yeah, it's good to know your identity, but it's someone that quote to you these African leaders and things like that, and he's good at using this manipulation tactics. Yeah, but is it that African leader or that leader? Is he legit? That's what it is about. Because some people can be corrupted, even in the African continent. You can see that's the reality is going over there as we speak, and it has in the past. There's some people that were legitimate for their people. Then there was some people that's put on an act that really wasn't for their people. They were getting paid off under the table. So that's a fact. So is he that? So people looking at him in America is the same kind of way, and then to come from the sources say he's not well liked over in Britain and in some parts of Canada. So because they see through the bullshit, and they proud to be black, but just like anybody, black person from Canada, Britain, Africa, the Caribbean, they don't want to be manipulating some bull crap. They know who they are. They know what about their history and they whatever they religious affiliation as far as what they worship. But they know every person, regardless of what your spiritual background, when someone's bull crapping you. Anybody, and they know when if just as someone who's not of your nationality is bull crapping you, someone of your same bush, because they feel like that's how it's almost like the devil. The devil don't just come looking like with pitchforks and horns because he expects that you come that way. So what does he do? What the Bible said, he come like the angel of light. He'll come like your best friend and your partner. So that's the same analogy as some people. They know what to say and get you all hyped up in anything and put all this, we gotta come together. Yeah, we gonna come together. You get behind supporting some, but I don't want to get screwed over like these group of people. This guy screwed his people over, and that's just common sense. In the black community, like any other community, no one's. If you don't get held accountable, someone gonna hold you accountable for it. Especially when they got proof. Someone got proof. You're doing some deceptive tactics. And you playing people like they're dumb, you playing people like they stupid. It's one thing that another race of people do that to you, but you find people in your own race think that, okay, let me get these single black mothers because and it's poorer because I'm college educated and these Negroes don't know what's going on. And whatever. Maybe they don't know. Maybe some people are not educated enough to know. But one thing, God gave common sense enough to know when someone's being bullcrap. God gave every human man, woman, and child common sense. This is what Umar Johnson don't understand that. He gave every human being common sense, and it called like a bullshit meter. Excuse the expression, a bullshit. Like, okay, it sounds good, but do your research. It's something really legitimate. Because some people just go by what someone hearsay. And it's just like people can be persuaded. And one thing my mentor told, a mentor, a woman told me this. She said, Jane, sometimes some people have to use their own mind and ask questions and think for themselves. Some people don't want to think for themselves. And some of his supporters don't think for themselves. They go by what they feel in their emotions. They don't go by use logic. And the ones who question, it's easy to them to call them a slave terminology name because they pointed something out. And then they have the proof to point it out. I'm just observing from looking at both sides, but I'm seeing that this side is making more sense than this side. And this side do result in juvenile calling out names and send animal threats to somebody. If that's how we handle things as adults, if this what you do, is that what you're gonna teach young people? That's how you do. Just threaten somebody and call them out their name. I'm just because they have a simple disagreement with you. Someone that look like in your own skin color, and that's what one thing we do. So we act violent on one another simply because we have simple disagreements of opinion. Think about it. Who's really in operation? Do you got to dominate, to manipulate, to bully me, to use bully tactics? Is that what it is? See, some people need the people, his people, anybody who's listening on either side need to think about that. But yet, Lenon Honor had a good case. And I watched the video, he makes the good presentation, what he said in the past, played out the whole video, played it out, analyzed it, broke it down, and showed it. Umar got leg to stand on, knocked it out the water, and got his own words. And Umar will go back and make analysis, maybe instead accept responsibility, instead of redirecting it and doing, see he's taking things out and stop, just admit that you're wrong. Admit that you're wrong. That's it. Just admit you made a mistake and back away. And then focus on your upgrading your psychology or what you went to school for. Maybe you need to rebrand yourself and lay low. That would be my advice to him. Because every time he went up in mouth trying to be this big famous, you're making yourself look bad, bro. You make yourself look bad. Then you make yourself look competent. And then people are showing, and they got the show. They're not just saying that, they got the video to show that you make yourself look incompetent. They got you coming out of your own words, make you look like you incompetent. I'm just saying. It is that, I agree with them, and I don't want to see nothing violent happen to him. Is like I want to see something, happen to his family. Nobody. But he has to. But his dad has to understand that he has to take responsibility. I should hate that when it happened. But yeah, he has to take responsibility. And that's what everybody's saying. Take responsibility. Lay low. Back down. And there's a few people that had to do that were accused of something. They had to kind of lay low. And the videos will stop. But when you put some kind of sneaky conniving thing, and people showing proof that you're being sneaky conniving, and they got the evidence, analyzing it, what you saying, and then turn back from 5 years ago, 4 years ago, yeah, but, and I can say, well, if he say I made that mistake and come back and say I made that mistake about what I said in Ferguson, it was wrong and right. It was wrong for me to suggest that what I said in front of those people. But no, you don't need to. Then people could understand. But he didn't even apologize. The point is, he didn't even admit that. And I know I know he probably came across Lenon Honor's video and probably someone else's video pointing what he said out. So one of his describers probably showed him this. But you think he's going to admit that he's wrong? No, he's going to that he's deflect. So what I'm saying, look at his action. And then again, if you has And then one of his supporters, if something happened to your kid at school, if that's the way he's gonna handle it, he's gonna get arrogant and bold, close the door on in your face, would turn off the phone, if something would happen, if the school would got started. Think about it. If it's something happened to your child at this school, because stuff that do happen in school at children. It would and have two grown adults fight it out, duke it out in school. Because one child did, you know how it is. If it's like that in the public school, it's like that in the private school. So how would he handle that? You need someone whose balance can able to handle a situation like that. And stuff does happen in the school with children. To have two sides of the story. Is that the way he's going to resolve it? And this person's your principal. That he said he was a principal at. I wonder, is that how the way he handled when he was a principal? And then he's trying to do 5-6 things at one time. Be over his money, be over this. He don't even have a selective board to help him make that decision. He's trying to do it all on his own. It's not wise. You gotta have a set of people that know how to do different arenas and have experience on how to deal with things. Public relations and everything. Someone who handle your accounting, someone gonna handle your books. This is something to think about. So this is what these people pointing it out in the video. So, well, I heard that video from last night. Last night, he's one of the very few videos, but that really took note of that. Like, wow, he made a good point. He made a lot of good points, and just he need to back it down, because otherwise, people gonna keep mocking you. They're gonna keep, and the people don't even know. Gonna see both sides, and you catch the very thing that they say. Go to their video, and they actually got the proof of what you said. Got the document things online, able to pull it up from the public, because everything is public. Then they're gonna want that question wondering, okay, you paid for the school, what you did with the rest of the money? Are you going to? That's true. And then turn back around and ask for more money again, without thinking that the government ain't gonna say something. How you gonna get around that? Do you know the special tax laws into that? If you're gonna get something without getting funding from the government, then you looking at the state, because they got, when it comes to a building, what does that state say as far as education? Is that school going to be approved of ground for something that large, or that even if it's one building? So they come and checking them out, and then they're going to send the audit team in there, make sure everything's the Department of Education. They're going to probably check all that out. See, some people really need to analyze all this thing. It's bigger than just pump up and be in emotion. And I understand that, yeah, the black kids, what they do with white kids, black kids, Hispanic kids, that this separation as far as learning capacity and diagnosis and things like that. That's true. Some of the things he said has been documented true. However, find somebody who's stable, who's logical, use logic, reason, and know how to work within the system. Not be a hype man. But here's the problem. Here's the solution. Here's the steps to the solution. So you have professionally trained counselors and individuals that know how to deal with children with their learning disability, and whatever problems, that emotional problem that they have. You need somebody who's logic. yes, and that's true that the data he would bring forth about that. And some of the things he says true, but he's not the man. He's not the one. Maybe another black psychologist who's level-minded is, but he's not the one. Not when he carry his personality like that. That's what everybody's coming at him for. Then they look, and it's true. You can say, well, as far as his personal life, that's no. You can argue and say, well, that's nobody's business. You might be right on that point, but if a person, and here comes the common sense part, if they not really showing loving, nurturing among their kids, what does it say about when that person is in front of your children? That's why he pointed that out. But what happened between, that's true between him and his baby's mama, that's his business. Somebody can make that, well, that's true. But what about your kids? Because a person who is a teacher, who's a parent, they take their kids and they nurture their kids. So they're nurturing their kids, they're going to nurture your kids to their needs. That's just common sense. And they have a evil-minded development way of doing it. So you have to consider that. And listen to his supporters. You may not like what I'm saying, but just sit down and think about it. Think. God gave you a brain to think and analyze this yourself. And I don't care what level of education you have, but IQ you have, but you do have some common sense. That's protective mode. You may have a 6th grade education, but or whatever, but you got some common sense. You got some common sense when it comes to your own children. You may not have the lack of their skill, but you got common sense. That's what God gave anybody. I don't care if they live out in the jungle or they live in the forest. Your seed is your seed, and where you nurture your seed is you see the person of the character. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but you can't question just go back and look at his video, Lenon Honor's video from yesterday. Look at Efforts Bengali, Make a Change, King Conscious. Look at the video and sit down there. They're trying to tell you, even the Reverend Palmer out there in Kansas. Listen what he's saying. Listen. This guy counseled people out there in Kansas City. But he even see that there's something wrong. And he went on an attack phase against him. That man's married, got a wife. I mean, look at but he just said, as a person who counsel kids and probably counsel homeless people and things, and sound like what Reverend Palmer do with troubled youth who's homeless or whatever. He knows. And probably people like him that came to his channel. So that's what I'm saying. Just call me the logic one. I'm the one that's seen from a logical point of view. Not taking sides, just say, hey, just use logic. Stop using emotion. Use logic. That's how you're going to get further in this world. Is use your logic. Because when you get emotional, your emotions will get you in a whole lot of trouble. And everyone has been over emotional. And then later on said, damn, you sit back somewhere thinking, damn, I wish I could have thought more logical. And at least I give Jay Morrison and that much credit. But Umar, if he gonna learn the hard way. And then you don't feel sorry for him. I mean, sometimes some people need to get spanked. And with life, when I mean spank, it coming from a place of the Most High. And life will spank you. When you get a little bit too above yourself, sometimes some people fall. And when they fall, step out the way. Don't injure some people. Because until they come humbly. But if they don't come humbly, you gotta let them fall on their butt. You know? Because if they don't, they're gonna keep doing what they're doing. And they're gonna keep acting the way acting, and it's gonna get worse and worse and worse. And then his own actions. People and maybe some people that's trying to get. Oh, another thing. He's trying to get to the venues. Maybe they look at stuff online and someone who they know, who they associate know, and say, "I want you to check this out. This guy who you let into your venue." And that's when he go to call. Nope. Because someone, his own words, caused his actions, and someone pointed that out. To someone he went to go for his book signings and go for other business. His own actions. And somebody, and everybody come to YouTube. Everybody come on YouTube. And it'll take that long to send something, a video to someone's phone. Facebook. He's been on Facebook saying some outlandish things. Shh. They send it over to him. Oh no! Heck no! We can't have this person. And they not maybe some people are not forthcoming to tell you that. But 9 chances out of 10, that was the reason. Then he said it was their business. Imagine you say, "I'm going to come to my so-and-so, so-and-so. I'm going to be in Cleveland, Ohio at this business." Say, who? This guy named who? We don't know who he is. Who? Where's he from? Don't even heard of him. And so they got to pull up video of this guy. Just like, there was a video someone that did about the Bailey family, saying, is he connected? There was a guy through the Bailey family said, we don't know. He had to call his relatives to see, was Umar Johnson connected? Was his bloodline connected to his bloodline? Because he was saying this on the network radio, and the guy who was a descendant of, I believe was Frederick Douglass, saying he's not related to us. These was actual Douglass descendants who were out of Maryland, Virginia. The guy was saying, he called his relatives and said such and such a name. And they probably meet every year for a family reunion, so they know who's in their bloodline, who's connected to them. But he just do that just because he find influential people that he can gravitate to. Then to kind of find out that people are like, no, we never heard of this guy. We are the descendants of those people. No, he's in our family. Trying to exalt himself, trying to make himself bigger in life. So he wants to, and I said, the way he go about trying to establish a legacy out of deceitfulness, that's wrong. Because that's just wrong. Using dead people's legacy when you add deceit, that's wrong. That's just so wrong in so many ways. Then to kind of find out that the people who are actually descendants of these people, saying that you're not can have no blood relations with them. There's been proof about that. From the people who are descendants from these different individuals he put name a school from after. Just because he read some history books on them, trying to enlighten you, and some people are like, that's nice, but how's that connected to you? They already proved their greatness, and it sure wasn't about lying and deceiving people. It was sure not trying to make it larger than life. Other people wrote about their story. They didn't have to exalt their story. They had to be bigger than life. They would, the people wrote about that wrote newspapers on the Marcus Garvey, the Frederick Douglass, and all those other people. They was really a humble people that had a mission, and they didn't go around talking a lot of crap. And if you do the biography of them, they didn't talk a lot of stuff. They was humble, they was discernment, and they were quiet. And they did it. They wasn't trying to be a star, trying to be well known. They did what they did at that time. So why does he have to do all that? I'm just saying. It's one thing if you're famous, but do it the right way. If you want to have a legacy, do it the right way. But don't. But the last thing you want to be is a person that carries a legacy of being a buffoon, being pompous, being arrogant, and being mischievous, and going across the country. That's not the way you leave a legacy. And the greatest legacy is what are your seed gonna say? What kind of dad that they was? What kind of person that he was? When ethic is lying, because being deceitful, getting fights and strife with people, trying to be a leader that you're not capable of leading. You can't call yourself a prince. I'm sorry. When you go meet an actual king, a prince, and you go to Africa and probably or England someplace or one of those places, you see how princes and kings, they don't carry on like that. They don't carry on like that. They ain't on social media all the time, bragging and stuff. They're not. They're poised. They like, but they poised. And they ain't gotta brag. I mean, prince of anything. King of a king, prince, princess, queen. Queen, that's a whole nother topic. But does it, I ask when he says that, go find out what how a personality of a prince really is. And tell me, and look at his personality. Does it measure up as a prince? Show me what a leader of a school. Show me what a real leader of a black school with black students. You should, and there are black schools, which was just for black boys and black girls. Go in and you see their personality. Talk with them. Are they acting buffoon offline? And if they do get caught up in scam, they repent. They say they admit that they're wrong, and they try to clean themselves up. They don't go around being pompous and carry on being a pompous ass. They know that they're wrong, and somebody is, they caught them in the fair, or they caught them doing something. They apologize, they resign, and they go and lay low for a while. At least some people do that. That once they get caught up in some scandal, they lay low for a while and try to come back up. But this man haven't done. He just keep on and on and on and on. And he thinks that the more it is, the more, and he's making more and more. He's people like, I don't want to be associated with you. I'm just saying, he thinking that, well, I'm popular, I'm the most requested on the world. No, you're not. No, not core to your actions. And people have met him. Some people have met him. Some people is in the profession. I'm not a professional, but I don't have a degree, but I damn sure if I had a degree, I wouldn't be a pompous ass. I would be boosting about, I got 6 degrees. If I was at 6 degrees, I wouldn't. I'll be humble with my 6 degrees. I don't have to keep saying it because people would know. With this black psychologist, their books tell it. You can tell by their writing. You can tell by other people's work, other validation of their work. You want someone who's a Pan-Africanist? Go watch the ones that really are in Africa and Jamaica. They don't carry themselves like that. That's in the Caribbean. That's in Africa. Do they carry on like that? You think they're gonna go for that kind of behavior? Especially when they're being a leader. They know they have to be balanced. They don't want to be considered a dictator. And especially when they're trying to lead something and be an example and leave a legacy. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But go look it up for yourself. Part of the black culture is you have simple disagreement, but part of being a strong black man, strong black woman, is having at least civil-minded, not acting crazy, not going off the wall. Anger is justified at times, but common sense is people respect you for that. They respect you more when you have common sense, not when you're just off balance. And then number two, the next thing, you want a wife. He want a wife, right? A strong, pretty, nice-looking wife. Stop with them kind of comments he was making. And he will get the best, but he's not gonna get the best. He'll get somebody who have not much going on for themselves. And if a woman got much going on, they're not gonna be attracted to something like that. And then point out what he say. And there's some beautiful black women out there who got, but they don't get with something like that. Yeah, he talk. Yeah, he talk. This by the words that come out of his mouth. Yeah, it's one thing. Yeah, you sound like you educated, but just the words that come out your mouth, they don't want to be embarrassed like that. I'm just being honest with you. Talking about 2 wives. Well, you don't want 2 wives. You can have a sustainable income to have 2 wives. And not by getting donations. Maybe somebody that with a low, not much going on for their life might take that offer, but not with no decent quality of woman. No, they're not gonna want. No. You don't have to. If you want 2 wives, you have to have 2 incomes. Yeah. You probably want, let alone 2. I'm just telling the truth. I'm not. I mean, if it sound like I'm hating, I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure any woman will want. If she would subject herself to that, that's what she would want. She wanted a guy, and she gonna share her husband with somebody who would be in agreement with that. I'm pretty sure she would want to be taken care of. It's common sense. But anyway, you guys have a good afternoon. But yeah, sometimes it's best to kind of lay low. When you go on the ropes, it's time to kind of throw in the towel and come back. Maybe come back and take a year off. Just take some time off. But these folks, they won't do that. It's like, stop people. and you keep going with the same thing over and over and over. It's like, hey, sometimes, it's like people start, and then they get evidence, and then when they have the evidence on you, hey man, someone had that. If I was bull crap that many people, I was like, okay. At some point, I will at least give up and just say, okay, I done bull crapped all these people. At some point, I think I need to pull back. That's just me. But wow, at some point, like, dang, dude, they got too much evidence on you. In video these days, yeah, it could be manipulated, but when they got your words saying this, saying what you say, your own words, it's gonna sink you in the tank. Till next time, you guys take care. Sorry, this video was too long. Try not to make them too long. Try not to be boring, long-winded with it, but just trying to make some sense with what I seen last night. All right then, take care.